Thank you, first of all, Rai Levitt, for your words of inspiration, your kind words. I thank you for having me. I thank Mrs. Zellinger, who arranged this in the summer. When we spoke in the summer about doing this, I always have a netiya to come to Baltimore. I have a lot of close friends here. And right away, when she asked about coming, Rav Ellie Brenner and I are friends for many years. I'm very close to the Greenwald, Donnie Greenwald, and many people here, the Greengard family. I have many, many, many friends here, and I like coming to Baltimore. Mechanchim and mechanchos, people who are teaching Torah, that's a crowd that I feel are the precious, the jewels, the important, tremendously important people in our nation. So it's always gishmak to get together, to be mechazik each other, and just to sit together in a room. And that's in the summer. That was the thought in the summer. I can't even fully explain. I like being in yeshiva. I can't even fully explain. Mrs. Zellinger wanted it. She's organizing something for mechanechim. I agreed. I'm friends with Dov Oak, and I'm looking at the crowd, so that's probably why I said yes in the summer. That was then. Now, when it comes down to it, my sense is that Klal Yisrael should just make gatherings. We got to come together. We're just gathering. We could just put down the mic and everybody should schmooze together, sing together, talk together. To me, our nation, we're going through and have gone through something very, very difficult and a tremendously difficult time. All different, overwhelming thoughts and feelings of what's happening. But I never in my life, I never had a bigger pride from being a Yid in my life. I've never felt it so powerfully, a Yid. A Yid, I feel it, and I feel so proud of our people. We're beautiful. We've united like I've never seen in my life. We've stood up with faith, with beauty. We're such a gorgeous people. I want to apologize. People I knew, in the past, I knew Rav Ellie as a tzaddik. I don't call you a tzaddik anymore. I asked Mechila, but you're not downgraded. I used to see our nation, tzaddikim. What a tzaddik. Zevi, I'd call you a tzaddik. I'm sorry, it's not what I see it. The last couple of weeks, I lost sight of what it means to be a Yid. So I saw so many amazing tzaddikim, tzidkaniyos. Yidden, a Yid. We forgot what it meant to be a Yid. No labels, types, all those things, cute, man-made stuff. A Yid is made by Hashem, a God made a Yid. And the pride in being a Yid is felt, and we should just gather as a people, make gatherings. We have individual things, tshuva and things we want to be misakin, each of us. But as a people, we should just gather, and you're seeing that. We're just coming together. The reason this happened, Mrs. Zellinger gets credit, JES, the reason it happened, Klape Shmaya, is Yidden are supposed to gather right now. We should just come together and gather, maybe sing a little bit, talk a little bit, gather. We should be together to gather. Since we've gone through what we've gone through, I try to just make gatherings. I've just made gatherings. We were at a gathering in 5 towns. We had hundreds of people in a room, maybe many hundreds of people. And someone was like, are you speaking yet? The speech was called, and I'd become more on time, Cyril. You'd be shocked. I'm getting there. It's things, people can change. You wouldn't believe it. And I'm getting more on time. And the speech, I was there early, and it was 20 minutes after the speaking time, as if like there were no words to say to our people. Like you put words to this. There was no hamakim menachem. God and only God can comfort us. It wasn't like I gathered people because I wanted to say, I gathered people so we should be gathered. So Klal Yisrael, Yidden should sit together, Yidden. And this precious group, we should be together because we should be together. Because Yidden should stand together. A Yid, fellow Yidden, beautiful people. I want to tell you a pshat from Rabbanim Pshescha that I need to share with you. We're all saying Tehillim as a nation. We're saying Tehillim. I want to tell you a pshat that I feel in my bones today. Rabbanim Pshescha asked that in Kapitel Pei Hey in Tehillim, the pasuk says in middle of Kapitel Pei Hey, David HaMelech davens to Hashem, and he says, "V'hafer kascha imanu." Thwart or be mefer, annul your anger imanu. I read my wife this pasuk Tehillim. She said it should say Mei imanu. So Rabbonim Pshescha and my wife both asked that it should say V'hafer kascha Mei imanu. The word imanu, it's missing a mem. Remove your anger imanu. Mei imanu. Take your anger from us. It appears we feel you're angry. Please, Hashem, take away your anger. Hafer kascha imanu. Take your anger. Mei imanu. What's imanu? I was troubled. The word hafer. Haser, it should say remove. Hafer. Annul or thwart your anger. Strange language. Remove your anger. Hafer. Haser kascha. So what's the hafer? Annul or thwart your anger and imanu. Said Rabbanim's son, he alley-ooped to his son. He asked his son the question. I assume he meant this teretz, but his son Avram Moshe. Rabbi Avram Moshe said a mashal. He said a king is angry, is fuming, and nobody could speak to him. You just try to speak to the melech and he's upset. You try, excuse me, if he's angry, you can't even start a conversation. And people are wondering, how do we calm the melech down? And somebody has an idea and brings the melech's child, the melech's youngster, and the melech just melts. So, picture being angry, and Yisrael Meir would come in the room to ask some shaila about kangaroos. The anger's gone. It's annulled, it's thwarted. Said Rabbonim Pshescha's son that David HaMelech's praying to Hashem, thwart your anger, not from us, because of us. See our beautiful people. See us. See the beauty of a Yid. And just your anger should melt. Hafer kascha, thwart your anger, annul your anger, imanu, through us, because of us. Look at a Yid, see the beauty of our people and just melt. Please, we daven, David HaMelech, daven to Hashem, melt from us, from the beauty of your people, from your love of your nation. Please let the anger be thwarted. On Hoshana Rabbah, a kapitel Tehillim caught my eye. And I learned it with my children. I asked my children if we could study together. We went 2 doors down to the shul, and we studied a kapitel Tehillim together. And it caught my eyes. It's kapitel Kuf Beis in Tehillim, and it's Tefillah La'ani Ki Yatov, the prayer of the poor man. The poor man's prayer. Ki Yatov, he's faint, he's swooning, he's dizzy, he can't think straight. And the prayer of the poor man who's fainting, he's Yatov. And the kapitel, many aspects of Kuf Beis caught my eyes. There's a Sfas Emes. The Sfas Emes says, he's talking, it's Hoshana Rabbah. I saw this on Hoshana Rabbah, this kapitel Tehillim. And he speaks about the Daled Minim, which each represent. The Esrog is the Tzaddik, Torah and Maisim Tovim. The Lulav, tremendous Tzaddik, the Lulav who has Torah and no Maisim Tovim. The Adasa Maisim Tovim. Each one of the Daled Minim has a unique specialness. And the Arava aim by Torah v'loy Maisim Tovim. The Arava, the poor Arava that has neither Torah or Maisim Tovim. Says Chazal, we gather the Daled Minim together. Our Elu Mechaprim al Elu. Every Yid has something to bring, something to offer, some beauty, some madrega to offer. And we gather the Daled Minim together, and we're Kalish, we praise Hashem. Ask the Sfas Emes, what does the Arava bring? It doesn't have Torah, it doesn't have Maisim Tovim. So what does it mean that Elu HaMechaprim al Elu, the other 3 bring Torah, bring Maisim Tovim? The Arava doesn't have Torah, and so what does it bring? And it says Elu HaMechaprim al Elu. Every Yid has something to contribute, has a beautiful light to shine, what's the light of the Arava? It says the Sfas Emes, Tefillah la'ani ki yatev, that the Ani's prayer is not a b'di'evid, even the Ani. There's a mile of he who comes humble, the Ani who feels vulnerable, who feels hurt, who's fainting, he's yatev, he's swooning. And there's a tremendous madrega specifically to the prayer of the Ani. And that's what and the Arava represents humility. He who comes with humility, the Tefillah la'ani ki yatev. Later on in this kapitel Tehillim, it speaks about the Tefillah of the Arar, which the Radak says means the Arava. There's a special madrega to the humble Yid, who feels like an Ani. And of course, if I would describe our people, this kapitel Tehillim caught my eyes, Anai Shana Rabba. In the ensuing couple of weeks, I was singing with my kids, Anai Shana Rabba, we were singing Tefillah la'ani ki yatev. And we've been singing it since. And Ani, of course, is the state that we find ourselves in as a people. We find ourselves humbled, we find ourselves vulnerable, we find ourselves feeling not so strong, feeling weak. A humility that our people has stood up and said, Hashem, we need you. Hashem, we want you. Hashem, we need you. Tefillah la'ani ki yatev. This kapitel Tehillim from beginning to end caught my eyes. Many psukim in there. And I was learning the kapitel. I studied it with my children. And Anai Shana Rabba, 4 words caught my eyes that I couldn't figure out. And the 4 words in the middle of this kapitel that's describing a person and a people that are calling out to Hashem in humility, that are saying, Hashem, we need you, Tata. We need you, we want you. We're vulnerable without you. We just need you, Hashem. And in the middle of this kapitel Tehillim, it says, Am Nivra Yahalel Ka. A created nation will yet praise Hashem. Now I told my kids, I like the optimism. Amidst difficulty and difficult times, it's a hallmark of our people. We're optimistic and positive because we're people of faith. And Yidden have always spoken about the good times that are surely coming. So the kapitel Tehillim that David HaMelech, this is what a Yid is and does amidst prayer, amidst a broken heart. A Yid prays to Hashem, but a Yid says with certainty, Klal Yisrael Yahalel Ka, will yet praise Hashem. We have confidence. Things are good. Hashem is good and He's leading us right. We don't always understand, but He's leading us right. So it didn't bother me, Yahalel Ka, the optimism, I expected it. And of course, in this kapitel Tehillim that speaks about difficult times, David HaMelech brings in what Yidden always have brought in. Amidst difficulties that we're headed right, we're beautiful, and we're headed right, and we're in good hands. And he says, Klal Yisrael Yahalel Ka. But what bothered me is, why does he call us an Am Nivra, a created nation? Now it is true there's something called a Yid. It's a Metzius. There's something called a Yid. I get so dizzy and confused. I'm this, I'm that type of Yid. Those aren't you. Stop. Let's talk about what Hashem made. He made a barrier called a Yid. Somebody's a Yid. It's a barrier, it's a creation called a Yid. A very holy creation in the world. And Klal Yisrael, it's a barrier. There's a creation. Lakachas goy mikerev goy, our birthday as a people is Yetzias Mitzrayim. And a Yid is a creation, this awesome creation. Holy, an Am Kadosh, a Goy Kadosh, a Mamleches Kaihanim that was created. So it doesn't bother me that we're called an Am Nivra, but why here? We're always called Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael. And it's true we've been created, but it's such an unusual term. Am Nivra, the created nation, will yet praise Hashem. Why in the middle of Kapitel Kuf Beis talking about Sarais, talking about frailties. A nation that's been hurt and wounded turns to Hashem in the recognition that we need you, Hashem, and we want you, Hashem. Why in the middle of this kapitel does it call us such an unusual name? Am Nivra, the created nation, will yet thank Hashem. And I want to suggest the pshat that I feel in the last few weeks, that it's true we were created with Yetzias Mitzrayim, but in tragedy we've been recreated. We're an Am Nivra, we've again been created. Am Nivra, we're created again. We've gotten in touch, we've remembered Klal Yisrael, Am Yisrael. We remembered who we are. Am Nivra Yahalol Ka. David HaMelech here calls us an Am Nivra, perhaps, that sometimes in Sarah, sometimes when somebody else attacks a Yid because they're a Yid, we remember a Yid. A Yid. We've been reminded, we've stood up in a beautiful way. Yidden. We're Yidden. And Am Nivra, a new creation. We've once again been created. In Am Nivra, a nation that was created with Yetzias Mitzrayim. And seemingly the last few weeks has had we're in Am Nivra, we've once again been created. We've stood up, we've been born, difficult birth pangs, difficult situation of our birth. But Am Nivra Yahalol Ka, the created nation, those who have once again recognized the Yid, Yahalol Ka, will yet praise Hashem for all the kindness we're certainly going to see. I want to talk a little bit about the Noam Elimelech, the Barditchever. I love their Torah, and I've gotten very attracted to the Torah of the Noam Elimelech, Rav Levi Yitzchak Dushas Levi. The Noam Elimelech, it was said on him that if somebody touched the doorknob of his house, he was chayzer b'tshuva. Anybody came into contact with that giant of a Yid became God-fearing. It was known, it was Yadua. What was his kayak, the Barditchever, who would go out before Rosh Hashanah Elul, when people sometimes closet themselves, the Barditchever would go out to cities and he'd bring Yidden back to Avinu Shebashamayim. And the Barditchever, who was crazy over Yidden, the protector of Yidden, who saw Milas in Yidden. What is the secret of this world? Of the Noam Elimelech, the Barditchever? What is that all of us, the biggest impact we'll have in our lives on the youth or the elder of our nation is to see good in people? What is the energy of that? What should I do? See good, be very frum. Who was the Noam Elimelech? What was he doing? Where did it come from? He's trying so hard to see people better. I don't know. I see what I see. What was that? What was that, the Noam Elimelech, who was wild over our people? The Barditchever, who was wild, was in love, madly in love with our nation. What was the energy of that? Let me share with you one verse from the Noam Elimelech that I think will be a window into it, into who they were, who he was, and will be instructive for us. The Noam Elimelech studied a pasuk. Anybody who ever learned in Waterbury, if you ask them the end of the pasuk, they know what you're referring to. Any gathering on Chinuch, so the pasuk that's quoted, Chanoich l'nar al pi darkei, everybody's unique. We all have a different path, a different light to shine to the world, and be mechanech a child in his own unique way. A pasuk quoted always at Chinuch gatherings, and certainly a pasuk that's instructive for us all, that people are unique and need unique instructions and unique direction. What's the end of the pasuk? That's much less known. Chanoich l'nar al pi darkei, Shlomo HaMelech's pasuk, everybody knows. The end of the pasuk is very, very important to me. And the end of the pasuk instructs our jobs in Chinuch, and it's gam ki yazkin lo yasser mimenu. In old age, one shouldn't veer from it. And Chinuch, keeping our eyes on the big picture, That not sometimes we want today, my kids, I walk to shul, we all dream and all our kids surround us. And everybody says, wow, look at these parents. And don't sell out. Of course, we want beautiful pictures now, but the dream is the long term, when they're 20, 40, 70, 90, and for eternity. Gam ki yazken lo yasir mimenu. Do that which is eternally lasting. And that's the end of the pasuk. Ask the Noam Elimelech two kashas. On the end of the pasuk, Gam ki yazken lo yasir mimenu, that chinuch's the long term. Don't sell out for today. Keep in mind the big picture. Keep in mind eternity. Gam ki yazken lo yasir mimenu. It should be for the long term. And the Noam Elimelech asked two kashas. Kasha number one, obvious pshat kasha, is why does it say Gam ki yazken lo yasir mimenu? It should speak in the positive. Why b'lashon shlila? It should say teach a child right, so in old age they should go in it. Why does it speak about so they shouldn't be so they shouldn't go off the derech? Teach it right, so they should be on the derech. Speak positive. Kasha number one. Kasha number two, if I came to Baltimore 5 hours here, 5 hours back to share this with Yehuda Roll, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. Harry to Spar to share this, I'm happy. The kasha, without even the teretz, we can all say good night, say some Tehillim together, successful. Listen to a kasha of the Noam Elimelech. This kasha, Rev Ellie, this kasha will all become frumer right after this kasha. Listen now what Tzaddik saw a pasuk. The pasuk says, teach a child right, so in old age he shouldn't go off. Ask the Noam Elimelech. A soul moves to Hashem. A soul moves to God. Soul. My soul wants Hashem. And every soul has a massive chukah to God. Every soul wants Hashem. Deeply, profoundly. A soul craves Shabbos. Craves. Ka'ech soif noyam Shabbos. A soul craves Shabbos. We have a body. We're on this earth. Shabbos is an opportunity to feel Hashem. Our soul is on fire. Every soul, every yid craves Shabbos with the Chinuch of Shabbos. Somebody meets their love, is excited, that's a yid with Shabbos. We crave Shabbos. People struggle, they go on their phone, Rachmana litzlan, they don't know what to do with themselves. My body, anxieties come up. The anxiety that comes, people on Shabbos, if the home is stressful. So there's a tremendous schism. If the home is stressful, so the day which my soul is fire, it's the day the soul craves, yearns, and wants. The body is like there's Shabbos, that when there's stress in the home, Shabbos is the most fighting. And that divide people go crazy from. That's the most challenging thing on this earth, when my body and soul are so divided. We have a mitzvah, Einig Shabbos. Sing, eat some kugel. Get your body where your soul is. Get it all working together. On Shabbos, our soul is fire. We crave Shabbos Kodesh. Ask the Noam Elimelech. A yid has a soul that craves Hashem. Would any pasuk predict the yid's going to go off the derech? There's no pasuk that would say, be mechanech somebody right, they're going to go off the derech. No pasuk predicts a yid goes on the derech. A yid moves to Hashem. A yid has a soul. A soul goes to God. No pasuk would say, be mechanech right, it's very dangerous. It's the Noam Elimelech's, but it's the best kasha I ever heard in my life. It's the best kasha I ever heard in my life. Ask the Noam Elimelech, I don't understand the pasuk. Everything I know about a soul, that a soul craves Hashem, wants Hashem, runs to Hashem. Then he reads a pasuk. I don't know what to do with this pasuk. What's happening? The pasuk says, teach a kid, so in old age he shouldn't go off the derech. Huh? Do you think you can make a soul? Are you serious? A soul moves to Hashem. You think you can't touch that. You can't shake that or break that. It's unchanged. A soul wants Hashem and craves and is driven towards. It's the normally Melech's kasha. So much tension from the question, you could feel it in the room. Whenever you study Torah, whenever you study things, you have to ask questions and get bothered. You have to get bothered. You have to sit and bother. Oh, what's going on here? Pasuk, it hit the Noam Melech, everything he knows about a soul. The pasuk, teach a kid right. In old age, you shouldn't chas v'sholem go off. What? Huh? Nobody's going off. People are going towards Hashem. Souls. It's predicting. Says the Noam Melech that the pshat in the pasuk is as follows. A person's going to go towards Hashem. Teach a kid right when he's young, so in old age he doesn't have to veer to the right way. In old age, if you teach him wrong, if you try to bring a light that's not his light, not her light, so they're going to move to their light because the soul moves to its beautiful light. So teach a person right. So in old age, you don't have to move to the right way. They shouldn't have to veer from the incorrect derech. Teach them the right light, that's theirs. Teach a person right. So in old age, they shouldn't have to be sorry to that which is right. That's what the pasuk means. The Noam Melech was not being frum when he went wild over Yidden. He was just being honest. He was just being honest. The place it has to start for mechanchim, mechanchos, parents and grandparents is with ourselves. We are holy. We are souls. Very holy souls. Very holy souls. From young ages, we're in touch with our physicality. We're tempted for a piece of meat. So, okay, if I learn a little more, maybe I'll get a little holy. No. The starting point, a yid has a soul. Elikai, neshama shenasata bi tayrahi. We're fire. We're not fire when we behave well. We actually behave well because we're fire. We're not fire when we learn, if we learn. No. We're fire. We're neshama. Holy, big souls with big lights to shine to the world. Matter of fact, it draws us to Torah. Matter of fact, that draws us to prayer. It's who we are. Study who we are. We're a fire. The Noam Melech and the Barditcheva saw Yidden. They saw themselves as fire, and they saw Yidden that way. They saw Yid, what a Yid is. They were nishtoimim from Yidden. You have to see yourself that way. If we see ourselves negatively, we're blocked. We see ourselves, we're fire. I studied a certain piece, and I went with my family to the mall on Cholamayid Sukkos. Typically, a mall's a place of a big nisayon. It's a place, a lot of people, a lot of things you have to look away from. My 3 boys went swimming. I have an ear drainage problem. I can't swim. My wife and daughter went shopping for clothing. I'm very weak with clothing. It wasn't my chill. So I waited outside the store where they were shopping for clothing. Waiting in a mall for a yid, it's packed. It's usually not the best idea, but I went with the Noam Melech's teachings. I sat there, it was wonderful. It was fire. Just a soul sitting there, it was so cool. We're a soul, we're fire, we're a soul, a holy soul. Put on in earth, human conditions, but a holy soul. The Noam Melech saw Yidden that way. The Barditcheva saw Yidden that way. Somebody touched the Noam Melech's door, it was Chayzer to Hashem, because he saw them that way. And eventually they saw themselves that way. Understand, any student comes into the class, it doesn't matter his history, his past, her dress, is no shaykhis. A holy soul, a precious, a fiery soul has walked in fire. Teachers should be intimidated from their students, like awed. The Rambam's lashon as a Rabbi is chayiv to be mechabed his talmidim, to respect. It doesn't mean external, oh, you're a nice boy. It doesn't mean not to say mean things. It means to be nishtaimim, to be amazed. We have to first be amazed at ourselves. We are fiery souls. Put in an earthly world to bring a tremendous kiddush shamayim. with a body, with a physical existence. But we're big souls, meant for a big tafkid, for a big mission. A yid. See ourselves, see our students. The main impact we have on anybody we teach is that we see them as precious, not pretend. It's not like you're the teacher. People expect, the bacher comes to yeshiva bas, you say, oh, your son's such a nice boy. Like this, the poor mother and father have had difficulties and years of challenge. You step in with arrogance. They're struggling, there's difficulties, people have challenges. Like, you're such a nice kid. Be quiet. I'm talking about not what you want to just say. So I'm talking about that you have no words, you're shocked. We could get there if we see ourselves such. We could be nishtoimim from people. We could be dazzled by people, a soul. The Barditchever was, the Noam Elimelech was. But we could have to see ourselves in such a light, in such a truth. And see the people around us with such a fire, such a truth. It's just the truth. It's not a trick, it's a truth. It's a truth. And we have to say it. Accepting our own flaws is the main path to see it. Because we're flawed and we're so in touch with our flaws, we lose sight of our own flame and fire and kedusha. And as such, we struggle to see it in others. The main energy has to see ourselves that way. A fire, a tremendous kedusha, tremendous light to the world that was designed only for me, only for you, nobody else. Then we could see our people, our nation in that light and impact tremendously. I want to share with everybody here something that's on my mind today. Today was the 12th yard site of two friends of mine, two people who impacted my life a lot, Ellie Shulman and Danny King. Eliyahu ben Mordechai Halevi and Danny King, Daniel Feivish, Ben Yaakov Yitzchak. I want to talk about Ellie Shulman today specifically. I could speak about Danny and did in yeshiva. I'd like to speak, his yard site was today. Tonight is Rachel Imenu's yard site as we gather. And it always meant a lot. Rachel kol biram anishma, Rachel mivak al baneha. And yeshiva, those words are powerful to us. Specifically, that we went into Rachel Imenu's yard site. We had a levaya tonight. And we lost Ellie Shulman and Danny King. And I want to talk about Ellie for a few minutes to everybody here. I want to bring out a specific point that's on my mind. Ellie loved the siyumim in yeshiva. At the end of the year, we have guys make siyumim, and it's utter magic. The siyumim are magical. One at a time, no productions, no mass siyumim. One each individual. A guy comes. It's not a whole group. One each yachid called yachid, and a guy makes a siyum. Friends, they're singing and dancing. Guys make raps and poems and grammar and songs about the guy. And the yeshiva celebrates somebody's attachment to Torah. It's magical. It's magical. It's gorgeous. And there's song and dancing, and we're celebrating somebody's attachment to Torah. The siyumim happen yearly at the end of the year. It used to go for about 6 weeks. They went hours and hours. Now we do a few a night. We combine a few, so we have a couple together. We used to do one like the Hakpada, no combining, but it went for many weeks. It's tough on the cook, other cheshbainis. Today we put a few together. We do it over a couple of weeks, siyumim. And it's always the end of the year. There are siyumim during the year, but that's a different thing. The siyum is beautiful and wonderful. But the siyumim I'm talking about, the end of the year, the celebration of a bacher's connection to Torah, a bacher's connection to Hashem, the impact Torah had on the bacher, and the friends celebrate. The siyumim are otherworldly. Ellie Shulman loved the siyumim in yeshiva. He got it. He understood it. There are many pictures of him dancing and singing. He liked the siyumim in the yeshiva a lot. And he came as a youngster to yeshiva. And he wasn't at the point, learning was not easy for him. He wasn't at the point ready to make his own, but he would join the siyumim. And he'd be a big part, dancing in the middle, and very, very part, he loved the siyumim. He gets in Einfall Nobody in the history of the yeshiva has done this before and not since. That he wants one of those siyumim, but I want it during Elul. I want it at the end of Elul. Ellie, he was in the yeshiva, he knew, he understood. That's not what we do. The siyum at the end, yeah, people make siyumim, but that's a different thing. He wanted this siyum at the end of Elul. He worked hard the whole summer. Learning did not come easy. He got a chavrusa, big ben Torah, put in hours to have his siyum. His parents and grandparents came to the siyum. His father's yahrzeit is coming in 3 days. So Reb Mati, Reb Mordechai, and his Zayda, should be gesund. His father and grandfather came to his siyum. His parents told me in his life, his parents said, B'chayav, it was the happiest day of his life. Cool kid, geschmack, a guy, very popular. It was the happiest day of his life. It lived up to the dream. He worked his head off. It made no sense that we were doing the siyum. We don't do that at the beginning of the year. Never happened before in the yeshiva. 12 years later, it's not what we do, the siyum at the end of the year. Ellie Shulman needed a siyum at the end of Elul. And he killed him. He worked hard, really hard to finish Masechta, learned when others weren't in the summer, worked during Elul, and came to make his siyum. Parents, grandparents came, and we did the whole thing. Song, dance, poems, amazing day. What his parents said, what I saw with my own eyes, the happiest day of Ellie Shomron's life. Made a siyum. And he was nifter on Yud Cheshvan shortly after he was nifter, on the way to yeshiva. And clearly, Hashgachas Hashem, that the siyum that he craved, he should make it then. And he wanted, and somehow Hashem runs the world, and he made that siyum that we'll always remember forever. And I want to say to everybody here that what I saw in the siyum and the siyumim, I saw kavod Torah. We speak a lot about the topic of kavod, of respecting people, respecting Am Yisrael. The word kavod might be one of the most important tasks of our life. Respecting things unleashes the force that's in them. Respect. David HaMelech says, actually it's a pasuk from Shlomo HaMelech, Yeira'eh mitzvah hu yeshulam. If you respect the mitzvah will impact you. If somebody respects the Beis Knesses, tefillah will impact them. They respect Shabbos will impact them. The kavod unleashes the kaiches that exist inside of things. That's how it works. A matter of fact, it says that David HaMelech, at the end of his life, his begadim didn't warm him. He wore begadim and he stayed cold. Strange, begadim warmed. It didn't warm him because he didn't show, there was a story in his life, he cut the beged of Shaul HaMelech, and he didn't show respect for begadim, so they didn't warm him. And Hashem designed the world. Respect something, it brings out its kaiches. Don't respect, and the kaiches stay dormant. Respect the mitzvah, it gives it power. That's how the world works. Physical things, mitzvahs. Respect brings out the beauty that's within. I was once giving a shiur somewhere, and I have very good peripheral vision. It's this weird thing. I like playing basketball. And Hashem blessed me. I could see, I'm looking at Ellie Brenner right now. Now I'm looking at Ellie Brenner. Thank you. Nice to see you, Ellie. I'm looking at Ellie Brenner. I have very good peripheral vision. If you know how to play basketball, a guy doesn't know how to play, sees a guy's cutting, he looks away, then throws it. Anybody who knows basketball, Harry Spar will steal the ball, because when you see him, turn this way, I know you're just throwing without you trying to, so the guy sees him, turns and passes, you pick it off. What you're supposed to do is never turn. Right now I'm watching Ellie and I see him cut and I throw him the ball. So I have an oddity, I have good peripheral vision, a blessing from Hashem. My kids know, I bragged about my peripheral vision. One of the shining moments, I was flying with Kalish, with my son, we were on a plane together, and we both got out to allow a gentleman to use the facility, an older man, and I'm talking to Maishi, my son standing talking to Maishi, and the man came back, and I saw him, and I said to Maishi, let's get up to let him through. The man said, oh, how do you see me? You have good peripheral vision. One of the great moments in my life. Anyway, I'm in the middle of speaking somewhere, and in my peripheral vision, a man stands up and starts walking forward. That's never a good thing in a speech, that somebody's like charging forward, and he was mad. And he said, "You're a dangerous man." I said, "How do you figure?" And he said that if you show respect to people who are struggling, you're dangerous. If they're doing well, they deserve. Earn your respect. You're a dangerous guy. You see, he has a very good plan. Brilliant plan in his school. Brilliant. You do well, you get respect. You don't, you don't. It's a good plan. And comes a guy, you like thwart my plan. You're crazy. You're so dangerous. It's a good plan. Yes, such a starker plan. It works, by the way. You want respect, do well. You don't deserve respect, please. Should I respect you? What are you talking about? What's wrong with you? He has such a good plan. It's brilliant. By the way, many people would do well to get respect. It's what we all want. We crave respect. So people would do well to get the respect. So the guy was very upset, very dangerous. Your mamish coming, you're uprooting like his whole Gainish plan. By the way, if we had a rule in our schools that you only get food if you behave, it would help. And don't feed. Some would die and most would behave. It's not a bad idea. Mamish, not a bad idea. A little bit dangerous, but not a... But I asked him, what should I do if I do respect? Like, what should I do? I have to work on myself. Problem is, I respect the guy. What the person doesn't understand and needs to learn, first of all, about the etzem greatness of a yid. That it's just true, sorry. It's just true. A yid is to be admired because it's true, it's not a trick. Like you give respect, like something, you could give out food or not. Respect is truth. If you're honest, you lose your mind. The Barditcheva didn't work on him, so he just was honest. It wasn't from, he was honest. He met a yid, he lost his mind. A yid is holy, a yid is big. That's just a fact, sorry. On me and on you. What this yid doesn't know, now what do? Shucks, we respect people, so how should I need to work on myself to get the plan going. So I have to figure out how to not respect the guy, because if I respect him and he's not doing well, I have a plan. I want him to do well or her to do well. But he doesn't know that respect brings out the greatness that's within. That's what unleashes the power within. One of the first questions were asked after 120, Himlachtecha chavercha, did you treat your friend like a melech? Were you nishtoimim from your friend? Were you amazed by your friend? Now it starts, you have to be amazed by yourself and impressed with self. But if you see beauty and precious, real, not pretend. Not pretend. And if you don't see it in somebody, ask yourself what flaw you have in yourself. Where's the criticism in self that's blocking you from seeing it in this one? You usually can find it. But when you accept yourself with our shenanigans, with our quirks, with our funny stuff, but a deep acceptance of self, you'll see people and you'll be amazed by them. And we then can impact. And I wanted to speak about the kavod Torah, respect for Torah, respect for people. The siyumim, I made a promise to myself. My parents should live till 120. I spoke to somebody at every siyum in the history of the yeshiva. I say the Kaddish. And I've said hundreds and hundreds of Kaddishim, probably thousands. Le'ilui Nishmas, Ellie, Shulman, and Danny King. Every siyum is said, every Kaddish. I asked the Messiah if I could make it, Le'ilui Nishmas, Ellie, and Danny. And the siyumim speak about the kavod of a person, respecting and honoring a person and their accomplishments, respecting and honoring Torah, valuing and appreciating Torah. I want to tell you a story. I'd like to share a story. But right now, Ellie's yahrzeit was today. His father, Reb Mati, is next week. I want to tell you a story. Mati Shomron, Ellie's father, and I became good friends. His father's an honest person, very straight-laced. His father calls me up after Ellie's patira and asks me a funny question. He says to me, he asked me, do the guys in yeshiva wear a talis over the head when they daven for the Amud? bizarre question, and the answer is yes. We have some Chaim Berlin Minhagim in Yeshiva. At the time, we were very makbid. I've gone back in the last year to be makbid. The chazan wears the talis over the head. Even a bacher, he's not married, but he's davening for the Amid. He's leading the prayers. He takes the talis over the head. So Reb Mati Schombrun asked me, does the chazan wear the talis over the head? So I said, why did you ask me that? So he said to me that Ellie came to me in a dream last night. And Ellie said Ellie loved the davening in yeshiva. He had a distinct walk, and he used to come, sat in the front. I loved watching him walk in. Always grabbed by Russ's hand. They were very close. And he walked to his seat. His distinct were very excited. Unique gait. And he walked to his seat to daven, and he loved the davenings in yeshiva. And he came to his father in a dream, and he said to his father that I asked in Shemayim, could I keep davening in yeshiva, and they granted me that I can come back to yeshiva for prayers. And he said, if you'll doubt that this is true, he said, call the yeshiva, I'll give you a simon. The chazan wears the talis overhead, it's a little different. I'll give you a simon that it's a different type of davening. The chazan wears the talis over the head. So Ramati said, I'm calling you to find out if that's true. It's true. And it was the dream that Ellie came to him and told him. I want to say that Ellie is a sugya of the respect, the dignity of a yid. The Siyumim celebrated a yid. The Siyumim celebrated the Torah that the yid learns. And Ellie was a mitzias, the prayer of a yid coming into davening. When it says in Shemayim they let him come to the prayers, please understand that Olam Haba is a place of K'vayid Shemayim. What does that mean? He asked to come to a shul. Understand how beautiful a yid praying to Hashem. Understand how beautiful that is. And it meant that even to leave Gan Eden, for a yid who's praying, who's talking to God, sincerely, a yid's talking to Hashem. Respect prayer, a yid's prayer. Respect the yid's Torah and respect the yid. And I say to all of us that the sugya of respecting yidden, of appreciating a yid, and each one uniquely, each one with their unique strengths, the unique light they bring and they shine, is a sugya that I wanted to share, the greatest impact we can have on somebody. The biggest impact is to honestly respect them. It's not what we say, it's what we think and what we see. It has to start with respecting ourselves, understanding ourselves. If we have to learn svarim that describe our own greatness, our own purity that exists, we start our prayers, Elikai, Neshama Shenasata Bi Tairahi, and understand the beauty and awesomeness of a yid. I think as a people, we've remembered what a yid is, the beauty of a yid. We've remembered as a people. We're seeing each other. We have differences. It's true, and we'll fight yet about our differences. I haven't figured out judicial reform, what it is and isn't. I didn't check into it yet. And it's not a problem. We'll have good debates. We just forgot, and deeper than it all, we're both Yidden. That's much deeper and much more powerful. We'll get yet. We'll have good debates. This type, that type, cute, man-made stuff, wonderful, geschmack. We'll talk, we'll argue, we'll debate, we'll figure out what to do when we disagree. It's fine. But deeper yet, a yid is a yid. The person's a yid, she's a yid, the person's a yid. If we could see the beauty, the majesty of a yid, the Am Nivra Yahalolka, the nation that's been recreated, will yet praise Hashem. So I say to us specifically a revolution of kavod, revolution of respect. The Siyumim are about the respect of a yid, celebrating a yid. That's what the Siyumim are and were. I want to say, b'schos his precious neshama, to learn to deep respect for a yid, for a yid's growth, a yid's minyan. I said that story with prayer. A yid davening. I don't say he was the first one there. I told him what time he came and things. That's good. We all work and try to be timely and all those things, but don't disrespect a yid, and a yid talking to his creator, and a yid learning Torah. It's precious because a yid counts and his actions are significant, or actions matter. If we could see all our families that way, each child, each one with their unique beauty, a soul will move to Hashem. The Naimali Melech, a soul's going to move to Hashem. Let's try to appreciate the specific beauty so it doesn't have to veer from something we force upon it, something that's corrupt. Instead, let's try to understand each child and try to tap into the unique light that each one is meant to shine. But gam ki yazkan l'yaseh, they won't have to be sar to their emistik derech, will already push them on their true derech. But a soul wants Hashem. A soul craves Hashem. A soul's interested. I used to think you have to put ruchnius in somebody. What do you do? This person does. People have massive faith. Massive faith. They're things, they're challenges. They're challenges. People have, in yeshiva, what surprises me the most is the amount of holiness that lies in a person. Sometimes we're zeicher to see it easier, and sometimes we have to dig and look for it. The main thing, we have guys here, Reb Sruli was a dorm counselor. The main task of a dorm counselor is to discover. They can call 4 a.m. if they discover, Rabbi, I found somebody. They discover, it takes sometimes all different conversations and times, and you find it, you discover, whoa, you have no idea. And they discover, and then through you, this one seeing, we all see, and then the person himself sees. So I say to all of us, mechanchim and mechanchis, you're incredible people. People here are teaching Torah. You're the heart and soul of our nation. We're at a time when we're fighting for Ramas Keren Yisrael, for increase in the pride of the Jewish people, a revolution of kavod, of respect to every single yid, every member of our classroom, every member of our families, every member of our communities. Haramas Keren Yisrael, a massive struggle for the pride of a yid, to restore the dignity of a yid. So I say to us all, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I appreciate that people here are teaching Torah and being mechazik and energizing and encouraging. If we all should have siyata d'shmaya in our mission, we should see as a nation, haramas keren Yisrael, the restoration of the pride, of the beauty of the Yid. We're seeing it, we're witnessing it. And of course, after haramas keren Yisrael comes harim keren Mashiach. Hashem brings Mashiach. So we should see the restoration of the haramas keren Yisrael b'karv. I have another topic that I wouldn't mind speaking about, but first, if there's a question, a comment, a statement on anything in the world, we have mechanchim here, mechanchos. If there are any questions, I don't say I have answers, but I do say that I love questions. I can ask you. If there's no questions here, I'm sure we all have questions. If somebody wants to ask, I can delay and ask a question, but if somebody wants a question, questions are important. Yes? Every question and there's this question, I'm going to frame it this way. The question is that we have challenges to respect, and we have a difficult child who's misbehaving and not living up to ways we want. So how do we respect? It seems they're not behaving and not doing things we want. If we feel our own personal hurt, especially if the chutzpah to somebody else, I can still respect. If the chutzpah is to me, I lose the respect. So there are many angles to this question. I want to say that mechanchim and mechanchos, we're human. And I don't think any of us would be good teachers or parents if we didn't get hurt. The only person who doesn't get hurt is a robot and who's not a good connector. If you care and you're close, you get hurt. And I say that to be a good teacher, a good Rebbe, a good parent, you have to know how to heal yourself. When a bacher is chutzpahdik to me, it hurts me. I take it personally. And I don't need him to apologize. I talk to myself. I call my wife. Everybody has their own way of getting back. I call my wife. I don't tell her, somebody hurt me, and I don't do that. Probably lashon hara, and not what I need to do. I remember I have a wife, I have a wonderful family. So we all have tricks how to restore and heal. It's a sugya of codependence. When the parent is close to the child and the teacher and is so hurt that they can't respect, So then I would say to the teacher to work on ourselves, to find our own beauty, our own specialness, so we could heal ourselves and not hold it to the kid. Because I remember, I'll tell you a story. A guy in yeshiva once pushed a dorm counselor. Yehuda Roll put years into helping guys. It wasn't him. Nobody ever would push him. But a guy went and pushed a dorm counselor. So I told the bacher that he's suspended. The buses were leaving on a Thursday night. I called his mom, explained to the mother he's a wonderful guy. Suspension is not like a sign that he's about to leave the yeshiva. He's staying till he graduates. He's going to graduate a huge Ben Torah. Suspension, I like that punishment. There's no detention ever by us. I'm a big suspension guy because, by me, never detention. I think schools have low esteem to do with detention. It's never ever a punishment to be in yeshiva. Never. It's a schus. You're lucky to be in yeshiva. How could there ever be a punishment to stay at yeshiva? Guys crave yeshiva. Never a punishment. If a guy can't be there, so then you can't be in yeshiva. So I tell parents, what should I do when he's home? Wine and dine him. Take him to every Orioles game, the Ravens game on Sunday. Choose for supper and whatever breakfast place, Goldberg's, whatever the bagel place, breakfast, lunch, supper. I don't get it. It's rewarded. No, he's not in yeshiva. No, don't add anything. The einish is he's not in yeshiva. People like being in yeshiva. So I told the mother, he's suspended. I told the boy, you're suspended. Before the buses leave Thursday night. Sunday night, this particular bacher walks right off the bus and says, hi, Rabbi. I'm here. He didn't listen to the suspension. I was hurt. Chutzpah, I was hurt. I'm very competitive. He defied me. I could be a tough guy. But it's not chinuch. Now I'm personally hurt. That's nothing to do with chinuch. I don't respect him at that moment. I'm angry. It's not about respect. So, of course, I have my ways. If the Mets are doing well, I can tune in. That doesn't usually work. Calling my wife works. Call her up. How's it going? Schmooze. And an hour later, we could then live. So there's many aspects to the question. Respect should not be lost on anybody. You don't have to earn back. You're going to have to earn back respect. Earn back respect. Elokai neshama shenasat b'Torah. The respect is not a nego. It's just true. Same holy soul that was yesterday. Before they were chutzpahdik to me. But I have to heal. It's normal to be hurt. As parents, we have a history with the child. We're angry. We're hurt. There's been so much friction. Life has been hard. We have a history, so we have to have our own system of healing, of recovering, and then respecting. Again, if we ask how are they going to behave, the respect itself will bring out everything. Respect brings out. Respect the mitzvah, it unleashes the power. Respect begadim, they warm. Respect people, they're fire. The Naim Elimelech respected people, they all were from. Everybody. Because he had a tremendous respect for a Yid. Those eyes produced Yid. That's the greatest impact we have on somebody. We see them for who they are. It's the biggest impact. To the point that they'll try to fight you on it. Stop seeing me so good. I've seen many a mother. The kid hates it. You see me good? Stop it. They'll try to prove you're wrong. You won't let go, and then they become what you see. Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question?
Oh, wow. Yes. It's a very good question. It's a very, very good question. It's interesting. The question's such an important question. It's like a big sugya. One piece of the sugya that I'd want to share is that, and this is important for mechanchim and mechanchos, people will say to a Rebbe in yeshiva that I'm mekana yorelu mabah. It's one of the funny lines. Now, you could say I'm overreading it. Some will say, I'm mekana yorelu mabah. What are they really saying? Let's get what they're really saying. They're really saying, you have a horrible olam hazeh. Like, oh gosh, poor you. And I always think about that line. We're in the middle of an intense volleyball game, and I'm loving it. I love sports and we're having an intense game. I always think of that line, I'm a Kani, but as we're like living it up. I don't like martyrdom in Chinuch for that reason, that to see goodness in others, we have to see goodness in ourselves. Mechanchim and mechanchos have to have good self-care. They have to take good care of themselves. There has to be, it could be a quicker way, it doesn't need, but martyrdom is dangerous. When somebody's giving it up for somebody else, very dangerous. And good self-care would be a starting point for any mechanech, any mechaneches who wants to impact somebody. Martyrdom is not the call of the day. It's not the place of instead fakir t'schus, the opportunity, but self-care and the building of self. So I think the question is important in ways, but in order to see goodness in somebody else, in order to help unleash what's inside of somebody else, we have to have it ourselves. There's a topic that's dear to me. There's a topic that we could speak about at length in schools. The importance of in schools, the teachers being loving and good to each other. No kids don't fall. A yeshiva's not warm unless the Rabbeim are warm like crazy to each other. It's not you turn it on for the guys, that's a fake. Warm is when two people are loving and caring for each other and sharing it with the child. So I think part of this discussion of the mechanechos, people being good to each other and warm and loving and caring. The Rebbeim by us hug each other. They also hug the guys. There's a love and a care and a warmth to each other. Then it's a warm place. It shouldn't just, if it's just directed, that will be seen, that's fake. That's not authentic. That's not warmth. So in the environment of every school, of every principals of schools and teachers, making sure the other mechanchos, the other people are taken care of and building themselves and happy themselves in order to share that. I wanna describe a mechanech. I want to describe a mechanech specifically of today. A mechanech today. I want to give words to it. Secular educators are great manipulators. That's not chinuch. That's not a good mechanech. What's a good mechanech? Or mechaneches? What's a good, in our world, what does it mean to be a mechanech? It is very, very difficult to be authentic. All of us to be ourselves in a loud world, all different challenges, to be authentic, to pray authentically, to learn ourselves, real, connect. Authenticity is hard. It's what we all strive for. A mechanech or mechaneches that's amazing is authentic and then shares authenticity. Once you're in front of others, it becomes that much harder. I'm standing here, I want to impress you. I want to say it. To be authentic and share authenticity is the role of a mechanech or mechaneches. Authentic and share it. Authentic and share it. To share honestly and comfortably. We were talking to the principals that kids today are very, very in touch and want a connection and relationship. They want authenticity. They want real. It used to be what was very valued in chinuch is charisma and charm, geschmack. Now, I'm not saying nobody wants boring. We need energy and we need to bring it. Kids are craving connection. Look eye to eye and see somebody and relate. As parents, I was asked today in Baltimore, somebody said, I heard him, what about you very into love, the only love approach? I wouldn't use that word. It's really not, it doesn't explain anything. Love is true. We all love our children, our students. The word I would use is an honest relationship, a connection. I want our kids to say about the parents, my dad understands me. That means an honest friendship and relationship, real. That you look your kid and my dad understands me, real. We have honest conversation. It's a very tricky friendship because our kids don't always want it and they're entitled to run off with their friends. I come home supper, my children may want it and today they may not want to talk. But they know their father wants to talk, is interested in the relationship, and wants to hear and wants to understand. Relationship, connection. With our students, it's the same. Kids of today are craving connection. The previous generations were amazing. They brought a level, they were soldiers. They were soldiers. I was a soldier. Till I met my children and the guys in yeshiva changed my life. I was a soldier. I tried to accomplish, learn, daven as best I can. Maybe a weak soldier. I missed sometimes, but I was trying to be a soldier. And today's kid wants to connect and relate and understand. That's what's going on out there with our students, with our children, to have an honest relationship. Look at somebody, what's happening? They always share eventually. They'll share and talk. The main thing I want in yeshiva is guys to have an honest connection to their Rabbi, which will lead to an honest connection to God, an honest connection to prayer, an honest connection to Hashem's Torah. So that's what I want for our children. In such a world where people are craving honesty and connection. I'll close out. It's time. A voice from heaven said only one more question. So I want to close out with the following verse from Reb Nachman that I like saying, and that will close out tonight. I want to say, Reb Nachman said something amazing. Reb Nachman asked that Yosef HaTzadik had a massive nisayon with Eshes Potifera, and he runs outside, beli begadim. And the Ramban asked that why didn't he grab his begadim? Why does the Torah report, I'm a very visual learner, why do we have to see this great giant beli begadim? Why does it say Yosef's outside, beli begadim? Reb Nachman said something life-changing. He said when the Nisyonos are raging, the only way to survive, Eshes Potifera and Nisyonos are raging, the only way to survive is beli begadim. The pshat is like this. Begadim is the external thing. Beged is that which covers, it's not us. The word beged means clothing, it means treachery. It's treachery because it's not us, it clothes us, it's persona, it's perception. Said Reb Nachman, when the Nisyonos are raging, you have to see the thing itself. You can't afford begadim. Secular education is all about begadim. It's all about formality, the word contrived, set up. You stand here, you say that, you be quiet, don't say anything. Very contrived. That worked at an age when the Zionists weren't raging. We're at an age where there's access, where the biggest industry in the world, the largest industry is pretzos today. The Zionists are raging. Access to bad things is everywhere. The only thing that will work is beli begadim, is that which is the person themselves. Good morning. Who are you? Let's talk. Let's relate. Let's connect. We can't afford begadim, the hiding behind formality and the way it looks. There's a place for begadim. Begadim have a place and an importance, but it's an age we have to get to the thing itself. Relationship, connection, two people who know each other. I want for my friends here, I want for my friends with your kids, I'm going to paint the picture. And this is, I'm going to actually paint a picture. I'd like everybody to visualize this picture. I am the worst artist I know. Ellie Brenner's son's an artist. I'm going to paint you. I want to make a picture of this. I'm going to end this. Picture a father who was struggling as a kid. He's got a little calls. And today, he's a guy who works hard, successful. And at night, he has a beautiful 3-hour, 2-hour Seder. His leadership tests, he knows as well. His shoes, his staunch manner, shadowed, strong, successful. Then he has a son, and he wants his son, he has dreams. He should his son should be big time. And you can see a certain discomfort with father, and he's like governing the son, cracking the son, being tough with the son. He's not related to the son. Who are you then? They don't have a connection, honest relationship. And he's so dreams everything he became, he wants for his son, and he worked hard for the dreams like that. They have no relationship. The best way to end perfect. They don't talk, they don't one-on-one. Honest conversation. Relationship, close. Okay, yes, I share with my father. He knows my words. He knows my thoughts. An honest connection. And that's the picture of the parents of today. Kids are cravings. That's the world we love. It's the thing itself. It's not the looks of it, the thing itself. Relationship. We crave an honest relationship with Hashem. An honest relationship with prayer. We What kids are craving is the craving itself. And we can give our students an honest morning. Look in the eye of the morning and that honest conversation. How are you? What's going on? Honest conversation, honest relation. Give it to our students, give it to our children. That's what we are craving today. We should give it to our nation. That honest relationship with Hashem that we will crave. We should see the curve. I don't understand so standing up in a proud, happy way. We should see Amen, the recreated nation that's remembered the beauty of how it comes. We should be celebrating all the blessings that Hashem surely will send our way. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Kalish, for reminding us about having a authentic contact and the real shulman we have, and to take care of ourselves as well. We will dial tomorrow in about 5 minutes. Thank you all for coming.